public hearing of the Rural Affairs and Transport Reference Committee. The committee is hearing evidence on the committee's inquiry into pilot training, airline safety and the Transport Safety Investigation Amendment Incidents Report Bill 2010. I welcome all here today. This is a public hearing and a Hansard transcript of the proceedings is being made. Before the committee starts taking evidence, I remind all witnesses that in giving evidence to the committee they are protected by parliamentary privilege. It's unlawful for anyone to threaten or disadvantage a witness on account of evidence given to a committee, and such action may be treated by the Senate as a contempt. It is also a contempt to give false or misleading evidence to a committee. The committee prefers all evidence be given in public, but under the Senate's resolutions, witnesses have the right to request to be heard in private session. It is important that witnesses give the committee notice that they intend to give evidence in camera. If a witness objects to answering a question, the witness should state the ground upon which the objection is taken, and the committee will determine whether or not to insist on an answer, having regard to the ground which is claimed. If the committee determines to insist on an answer, a witness may request that the answer be given in camera. Such a request may, of course, be made at any other time. And I'd ask witnesses to remain behind for a few minutes at the conclusion of their evidence in case the Hansard staff need to clarify any terms or references. And I remind all people in the room to ensure their mobile phones are either turned off or switched to silent. And finally, on behalf of the committee, I'd like to thank all those who have made submissions and sent representatives here today for their cooperation in this inquiry. So I now welcome Tiger Airways, and for the Hansard record, could you give your name, rank and serial number? And so if you could do that.
Senator Chairman, my name is Tony Davis. I'm the Group CEO of Tiger Airways Holdings.
My name is Crawford Ricks, and I am the CEO of Tiger Airways in Australia.
And I'm Tim Berry. I'm Director of Operations at Tiger Airways.
Tiger Airways has lodged submission 14 with the committee. Would you like to make any amendments or additions to that submission?
No, Chairman.
So if you'd like to make an opening statement, we'll proceed.
Thank you, Chairman. Tiger Airways Holdings is the parent company of Tiger Airways Australia, and we welcome the opportunity to assist the committee with its inquiry. My own background is that I've worked in aviation for the past 25 years, companies such as British Airways, Gulf Air and British Midland, and for the past 7 years I've been running Tiger Airways. I'll just make a few opening comments and then I'll pass over to Crawford, who's the CEO of our business here in Australia. Crawford leads a strong team, and I've been very impressed with the high calibre and the experience of the pilots, cabin crew and employees that we've been able to recruit here in Australia. Safety is a critical component to business success, but especially so in aviation, and Tiger takes this responsibility very seriously. As a company, we place a very high emphasis on safety. We have created a strong safety culture, and we ensure that our employees have the confidence and the ability to raise any safety concerns they may have in a just and non-punitive manner. Safety management is built on a basis of continuous improvement, and Tiger is committed to working with all regulatory bodies to ensure the safety of our operation. We are confident that our business model can and will be successful here in Australia, and that real competition provides benefits to consumers and to the economy as a whole. Tiger Airways has already had a dramatic impact in the domestic market, causing airfares to drop by more than 30%, and we are committed to the long-term future of our airline in Australia. I'll now hand over to Crawford, who will go into a little more detail.
Thank you very much, Tony. Thank you, and like Tony, I'm pleased to have the opportunity to assist the committee in its inquiry. It really is my privilege to be here as the CEO of Tiger Airways in Australia and to be the accountable manager for our Australian business and to be responsible for our AOC. I have slightly more experience than Tony. I have 33 years in the aviation industry. I started my career as an aircraft dispatcher, if you like, at the very bottom of the rung. And apart from 3 years in the media, I've worked for airlines throughout my career. Most recently, I worked for the British Midland Group in the UK. I was managing director of their regional airline, similar to the Rex type operation, for 2 years, and then managing director and accountable manager for the low-cost airline BMI Baby for the last 4 years of my career with BMI. And despite my accent, I was very nearly an Australian. My parents were £10 Poms in the 50s, but returned to Scotland 6 weeks before I was born. I'm very proud of our Australian workforce, as Tiger Airways is some of the best qualified and the most experienced pilots in Australia. We've successfully operated for almost 4 years now and safely carried in excess of 7 million passengers. All of our flights in Australia are operated by pilots and cabin crew based in Australia. Indeed, we've been able to attract many expatriate Australian pilots that have chosen to return to Australia to fly with Tiger Airways. At Tiger Airways, safety underpins everything that we do as a business.
Could I just intervene for a second?
Yes, you can.
The News Limited photographer would like to come and take some photos. Does that trouble you? Or?
Not at all.
Okay, thanks very much. You can continue, just
Okay.
don't take it note.
I have got a great face for radio. As accountable manager, I'm ultimately accountable for the AOC, and I take this responsibility very seriously. As Tony said earlier, safety is both personal and a corporate priority. Given the opportunity to make an opening statement, I would also like to put on the public record some brief comments in relation to the ongoing CASA process. It is important to state that all of our operations and our growth in Australia has been authorised by CASA. The AOC was first issued and approved by CASA in November 2007, on time and on our very first attempt. Each additional aircraft we've brought into our operation and each additional base we have added to our network has required an AOC variation to be approved by CASA. The most recent variation to the AOC to increase the size of our fleet to 10 aircraft and open our latest base at Avalon Airport was approved just a few months ago in November 2010. The committee is aware that in March CASA issued Tiger Airways with a show cause notice. Whilst the notice requested a response to a number of management oversight and administrative issues, it did not raise any issues that represented a serious or imminent risk to safety, or any issues that related to the physical maintenance of our aircraft. The show cause notice process is designed for CASA to raise such concerns with the operator based on their knowledge and understanding of the issues. The operator is then given the opportunity to clarify and correct any misunderstandings or inaccuracies. Tiger responded to CASA on the 13th of April in full and in detail to all of the concerns raised in the show cause notice. To 23rd of March.
23rd of March.
Yeah.
So you responded within
21 days.
21 days. Yeah.
Where CASA has made suggestions in relation to improving processes and oversight, Tiger has taken immediate action and responded proactively with additional resource. For example, we have recently made changes to the structure of our operations department, including the recruitment of additional maintenance oversight management in Melbourne to increase our local workforce. These roles were previously located in Singapore. I cannot state strongly enough today that Tiger Airways is fully committed to operating a safe and sustainable airline in Australia. If it wasn't, I wouldn't be here. Tiger has a robust safety culture. I have insisted that we have an open and transparent culture of reporting all incidents and potential incidents, both internally and to the relevant regulators, whether that be CASA, the ATSB, or the OTS. We believe that such an open and transparent safety culture is central to ensuring safe skies for all. Given the process is ongoing, I'm limited and what else I am able to discuss in relation to the show cause notice at this stage. We look forward to putting the show cause notice behind us and continuing to build a safe, sustainable airline in Australia. I welcome the opportunity to provide evidence to the committee and will be happy to answer further questions that you may have this morning. Thank you.
Senator O'Brien?
I have no questions at this stage, Senator Heffernan.
Better kick off then. Yeah, right, yeah. Could I just ask, I mean, it's a great curiosity, and I think, as I've said before, I wouldn't for the love of me own an airline. To keep airlines flying safely and flying financially sound, with the expectation of the flying public that it's a very cheap thing to do. Trains run at losses because, you know, it's $5 or something to go from the Southern Highlands to Sydney, and the government picks up the tab. What's the secret to cutting airline costs or flying costs by 30% and still being financially sound? And could I begin with asking you the age of your fleet? Did you buy the 10 planes, all brand spankers, or...?
Yeah, to answer your last question first, our aircraft actually were all delivered new to Tiger Airways from the factory in Toulouse, the Airbus factory in Toulouse, and the company is 7 years old, so none of our aircraft are more than 7 years old. In fact, we've just taken delivery of 2 brand new aircraft in the last week, so none of our aircraft are old. They're all brand new, all with the latest technology, all with the current modifications and online. So that's the situation. Tony, do you want to add anything there?
Well, perhaps, Senator, to your earlier point, I think, as Crawford and I have both said, we've worked in the industry our entire lives, and the airline business generally involves high investment capital. And what we've tried to do with the low-cost model is really strip out the pieces of the equation which are discretionary for most passengers. If you look at the total cost, a lot of the costs that airlines carry are actually to provide services to a very small number of people. And I think what we've done is we've said we're not going to try and produce a product which is attractive to everybody. We'll attract a certain portion of the population, people that are looking for very simple journeys. They're just going from A to B. They're not looking to check their baggage halfway around the world. I had a letter from someone the other day in WA who's very upset that we wouldn't take their poodle on the aircraft because we don't carry pets. Well, that's a decision that we've decided we won't transport pets in the aircraft because that adds another layer of complexity and so on. So the real basis of the model is you make it excuse me, very simple. You make choices. For example, in Australia, as well as having a brand new fleet, we only have one type of aircraft. That means we only have to train the pilots to fly one type of aircraft. The cabin crew only have to learn how to work in one type of aircraft. I think all of the other Australian airlines have multiple aircraft types. Well, that obviously means it's cheaper for us. We do get high efficiencies, so we schedule the operations so that we get as many flights a day out of each aircraft as we can, so we make choices about where those aircraft fly. We don't night stop the aircraft anywhere else other than their home base. The crews like that because it means they sleep in their own beds. They come back to base every day rather than packing a suitcase and going around Australia for a week. So the essence of the business is simplicity, it's efficiency. It is about heavy upfront investment. You know, the fact that all these aircraft are brand new means that we've put more money in upfront, but we do that because the underlying operating cost is then lower.
So in terms of your pilot training, do you pilfer them from other airlines or do you train them?
Bluntly, we pilfer. And Tim probably can speak to this better.
That mightn't be the right, but it's a bit like the haggis, you know. I've got to be careful on making...
I wouldn't use the term pilfering. We look for pilots with experience with with high levels of experience, and by the very nature of that that strategy, we